This young man possesses the skills every man dreams of. He only needs to harness human desires to create anything he imagines and can even shrink objects at will. Such is this miraculous man, Noir. Upon waking up one morning, Noir's father kneels before him, the reason being his family's low social status, which led to Noir losing a library job opportunity to a high official's son. As Noir contemplates a career change, his sister suggests he simply try for the Hero Academy, where a bright future awaits beyond mere librarianship. To encourage Noir, his sister even vows to support him for life if he fails to get in. Later, while out for a walk, Noir coincidentally meets his childhood friend Emma, who is blissfully unaware and excitedly fantasizes about working alongside Noir as a librarian. Reluctantly, Noir breaks the bad news to her. Emma, disappointed, remarks on the pity of it all, especially since Noir possesses an extraordinary skill, the ability to obtain answers to any question in the world, known as the Great Sage. However, this skill comes with a drawback: severe headaches after each use. Emma then shyly turns away, mentioning she read in an ancient book that kissing could relieve headaches. Noir tentatively asks if he may, and reaches for her hand, but Emma deems the location inappropriate. They then move to a secluded rooftop, where Noir first consults the Great Sage on how to become strong enough to pass the Hero Academy's entrance exam. The answer lies 15,000 kilometers away in a hidden labyrinth where the answers await. Upon hearing this, Noir immediately suffers a headache, perhaps feigned, leading to a kiss that eases his pain and even prompts another. Subsequently, Noir reaches the entrance of the labyrinth mentioned by the Great Sage. There, he accidentally triggers a mechanism at a stone door and enters. Inside, he encounters a girl chained by her limbs, a top-class adventurer who had accidentally discovered this labyrinth, and after several challenges, triggered a trap that had bound her here for 200 years. Noir is the first living person she has encountered since. Noir is unable to break the chains without killing her, so they communicate telepathically. Upon learning of Noir's need to grow stronger, she decides to pass on her skills to him, a potent ability that can create anything imagined by spending life points, which can also be transferred to others or used to edit anything about oneself or others. This godlike skill can increase one's life points through the surges of passion, the desires for food and drink, or the cravings for luxury and wealth, converting them into skill power. However, it's worth noting that if life points drop to 0, one's life ends. Noir then notices his current life points are 550. To test his skill, he approaches a slime, imagines a stone projectile, and after spending 50 life points, he conjures a stone in his hand that crushes the slime instantly. Exhausted from the depletion of life points, Noir thought of a method to recover, lying on his sister's silky thighs. Instantly, his life points rose to 600, because Emma complained that her chest was too cumbersome. The straightforward Noir directly used his skill to reduce her chest size. This is the godlike skill Noir received from the start, which allows him to edit anything at will. Emma, annoyed, shouted for him to change it back immediately. Later, Noir used this ability to participate in the Hero Academy's entrance exam. The exam involved teams of 3 collecting magical creatures. However, as someone from the lower echelons of society, no one was willing to team up with Noir. At that moment, a hand reached out to him. It was Emma. Emma had resigned from a favorable position to participate in the exam with Noir. Another girl named Lenore also expressed her desire to join them. After a brief introduction, the 3 successfully formed a team. Yet, in collecting magical creatures, Noir had his own method. A monster from the 3rd level of the Hidden Labyrinth, a Reaper wielding a scythe. Against a level 99 Reaper, level 23 Noir was severely outmatched. The Reaper launched an attack, striking with overwhelming force that terrified Noir. In response, Noir spent life points to create a skill that slowed the Reaper's movements. Then, gathering his courage, he slid behind the Reaper and spent more life points to increase the size of his stone projectile by 10-fold, successfully defeating the Reaper. By submitting the Reaper as a magical creature, Noir scored overwhelmingly high marks and was admitted to the Hero Academy with the highest score ever recorded in the exam's history. However, the tuition was extremely expensive. Upon hearing about the tuition fees, Noir's father's hands trembled involuntarily. If rewards are collected through gathering, subduing magical creatures, and conquering dungeons, Adventurers are also classified by levels. As a newcomer, Noir could only take on the lowest level tasks. After accumulating enough experience, he could level up. Noir was then assigned to capture a rainbow grasshopper, an insect that no one had been able to find until now. But for Noir, who had a powerful start, he only needed to use the Great Sage skill to find it. The Great Sage is a skill that can answer any question in the world, but it also requires kissing to alleviate its side effect of causing headaches. Unfortunately, there were no girls around at the moment, but Noir quickly thought of a solution, using another godlike skill, Create, to directly create a resistance to headaches. Thus, Noir spent 300 life points to create headache resistance. After consulting the Great Sage for the exact location of the rainbow grasshopper, Noir easily found the grasshopper under a rock. Although the headache side effect was somewhat alleviated, it was still hard to bear. Through the task, Noir earned a reward of 250,000, but he was still 50,000 short of the tuition fees. So, he took on a second bounty task to subdue a giant horned rabbit. Just as Noir was fantasizing about soon gathering enough for the tuition, 2 goblins rushed out. Noir quickly summoned a stone projectile, hitting them at their weakest spots. Then, using his Identify skill, Noir checked the level of the giant horned rabbit, which was clearly above Emma's level. However, Emma wanted to defeat it with her own strength for a simple reason. She didn't want Noir to always take the spotlight, as it might attract too much attention. Then, with a hint of jealousy, Emma engaged in a fight with the giant horned rabbit. Emma, with her agile movements, toyed with the giant horned rabbit, bombarding it with powerful attacks. This completely enraged the horned rabbit, which then charged violently at them. Just as Emma was about to be fatally struck, Noir launched a stone projectile that knocked the rabbit away and quickly helped Emma escape from the scene. After temporarily evading the horned rabbit's pursuit, Emma began to blame herself for her abilities. Seeing Emma so dejected, Noir thought of using his Edit skill to enhance Emma's short sword skills, which would cost him 500 life points. This was quite a stretch for Noir, who only had 700 life points. There was still one way left: increasing life points through human desires. Hunger and material desires were out of the question, so it seemed only lust remained. Noir then kissed Emma's ear, instantly raising his life points to 1,300. At that moment, the horned rabbit noticed them again. Noir seized the opportunity to edit Emma's skills. With her newly enhanced abilities, Emma easily defeated the giant horned rabbit. The two not only gathered enough money for their tuition, but also took the rabbit's carcass back with them, a rare delicacy. Later, Noir invited everyone present to enjoy the feast together, which also increased his life points to 1,500 through their satiated hunger. I've never seen such outrageous events before. The first thing Noir did upon seeing his childhood friend was to kiss her, and he had a legitimate reason. He needed to increase his life points through human desires, which could be converted into anything Noir wanted or any skill. Although the reason was sufficient, I still suspected they were using it as an excuse for private matters. Afterward, they arrived contentedly at the Hero Academy, where a severe hierarchy existed. For Noir, who came from the lowest social status, the Baron's badge on his chest was glaringly conspicuous. His classmates kept their distance, but Emma, with her graceful figure and noble status, was welcomed by the other students. Indeed, a good figure trumps all. Then, Maria, the daughter of a duke, came into the classroom. Surprisingly, she had no airs about her and greeted Noir directly, which confused the surrounding students. They all then went to the school grounds, where a very strict martial arts teacher greeted them with a smirk, expressing hope that everyone would survive the class. The lesson was on self-defense, and she called on Noir to come forward and strike her with all his might using a sword. Noir used his identifying eye to check the teacher's level, and, seeing she was 10 times his level, he charged. However, the teacher deftly dodged and then switched to offense, asking Noir to use a back jump to evade her attacks. But Noir knew nothing about back jumping, so the next second, he was knocked down by the teacher. To motivate Noir, the teacher said if he could succeed in back jumping even once, she would reward him, even promising to do something nice for him if he managed to dodge her once. Hearing this, the male students in the class were fired up. Noir immediately thought to use his edit skill to enhance his back-jumping ability, which would only cost him 200 life points. A bargain. The next second, he successfully performed a back jump. But the teacher's reward left him helpless, and even Emma felt sorry for Noir. The surrounding male students also comforted Noir, willing to take the punishment for him. In the end, Noir gained an additional 400 life points. Then, the teacher asked the students to pair up in twos, with the stipulation that they couldn't team up with someone they knew, meaning Noir and Emma could not be partners. Maria and her attendants were also not allowed to be in the same group. At that moment, a distinguished male student invited Maria to join him, stating that it would be most appropriate for them to team up given their statuses. However, Maria directly refused. She explained that she was only lucky to have been born into a duke's family, but compared to a commoner who was a prospective baron, his efforts should not be overlooked. Thus, Maria invited Noir instead, and they began their training. But during a wrestling exercise with Noir, Maria suddenly felt unwell and collapsed. Noir immediately used his identifying eye to examine Maria and discovered that she was cursed with a condition that would lead to her death by the age of 16th. Removing the curse with his edit skill would require 8,000 life points, but Noir currently only had 2,000 life points, which was far from enough. Noir then thought to use his sage skill to find out if there was any way to quickly increase his life points. The sage suggested that successfully interacting with every female present could accumulate 2,000 life points. The side effects of the sage's advice immediately caused a headache, making Noir lose his senses. He decided to kiss Emma on the spot to alleviate the headache, shocking the surrounding classmates and teachers. Afterward, Noir and Emma went to the Adventurers Guild to inquire from Lola about how to remove the curse from Maria. Lola mentioned that the holy woman Luna might have research on curses, but she was too overwhelmed with requests to meet Noir. However, after persistent pleas from Noir, Lola agreed to try to refer him. On that day, Noir once again visited the Hidden Labyrinth to consult a beautiful master about how to remove the curse on Maria. The master told Noir that removing the curse was not difficult. It would just require a large amount of life points to delete it using the edit skill. Since Noir only had 2,000 life points, he asked the master how to quickly accumulate life points. The mischievous master told Noir about a special skill called Lucky Pervert, which could be learned for just 300 life points and could have unexpected effects. Upon hearing Pervert, Noir immediately learned the skill. Then, while wandering the streets, Noir encountered Emma. Just as he was about to approach her, he was tripped by a cat and fell directly into Emma's arms, which instantly increased his life points by 300. Before Noir could understand what had happened, accidental exposures around him continuously boosted his life points. Was this the power of the Lucky Pervert skill? At that time, according to the agreement, Lola brought the revered Lady Luna to meet Noir. Later, everyone went to a restaurant where Noir made his request, hoping that Luna, being an elf, could help remove Maria's curse. However, Luna said that although she possessed the ability to remove curses, she was powerless against such a deadly familial curse. At that moment, Noir, using his identifying eye, checked Luna's information and discovered that she indeed had the skill to remove curses, but the cost was reducing the user's lifespan. To remove such a powerful death curse, Luna would have to pay with her life. On the way back, after much thought, Luna decided to save Maria and help her remove the curse. Knowing the truth, Noir asked for a private conversation with Luna. Once Noir revealed that he knew the entire truth, Luna told him that as an elf, her duty was to save all beings, and she could not stand by in the face of the demise of life. She also hopes to become a person like her mother, who traded her life for the happiness of all beings. As they were getting sentimental, an explosion sounded from behind them. A child was injured by a collapsing building. Noir and another person quickly rushed to the scene. Seeing this, Luna immediately used her healing gun skill, which restored the child. However, correspondingly, Luna suffered equivalent harm. Noir checked her with his identifying eye and found she had a weak constitution. Harm inflicted on her made her weaken. Then Lola explained that Luna always ended up like this after saving someone, and that she only needed a good rest to recover. After waking up, Luna also confessed the truth to everyone. Just thinking about removing Maria's curse and dying herself made her terribly afraid. With this, everyone decided to look for another solution. At that moment, Noir had a new idea. A method to remove the curse without sacrificing life Just now, Noir used his identifying eye to check Luna's curse removal skill and discovered a loophole. He could use the edit skill to delete the option of life consumption during curse removal. But the cost of 10,000 life points was too expensive. He then thought of changing the cost from life to wealth, which would only need 4,000 life points to edit and change. This way, Luna wouldn't need to sacrifice herself, and Maria could be saved. However, Noir's current life points were still insufficient, and he still needed to work hard to accumulate more. Life points could be increased through satisfying appetites, the allure of shiny objects, and the excitement of bashful romantic interactions. At this time, 3 beautiful girls started to play dumb, pretending not to know how to help Noir increase his life points. And Lola suggested a method, the Harem Shine event, to be held a few days later. However, on the day of the event, everyone discovered that this was not a harem event, but clearly a slander and defamation event. Everyone was out to get the popular guy, which left Noir, who was coveted by 3 women, quite confused, wondering if he could survive the event. The world's luckiest Noir wondered what would happen next. Of course, it was to be warmly embraced from all sides, giving him warmth. Even more ludicrously, the 3 beauties even used the principle of friction heat to warm Noir up. I can only say that physics classes in childhood were not in vain, and all this was just to participate in this harem event, where the rules required the boys to bring their harem teams on stage, to face the insults and ridicule of many single nobles. Any slight imperfection would incur endless criticism and vitriol. Noir, trembling, brought the 3 girls to the event. The first to take the stage was a youthful girl with a pig nose, but as soon as she greeted everyone, the whole venue fell silent. It turned out that her breath had knocked out everyone present. Then someone started mocking her pig nose, and others joined in the ridicule, directly making the pig-nosed girl cry. The judges prepared to score. With a total of 3,000 points, the 3 of them scored only 61 points. The monster in the Hidden Labyrinth was less terrifying. Emma, on the other hand, wanted to go home to her mother, which suited Lola just fine, as this meant one less rival for Noir. Hearing that, Emma insisted she couldn't leave. And as the next teams performed, the atmosphere fueled by the audience kept rising, and the dirty language and insults grew more extreme. At this time, one team stood out. They were members of rival guilds with a competitive relationship, and each of their 3 girls was a cute beauty. This also led the judges to award a high score of 2,700, instantly putting pressure on Noir's side. Noir was worried that the 3 girls by his side would be outperformed and thus suffer humiliation. Then it was Noir's turn to appear. All the audience turned their attention towards him. Noir encouraged Emma not to feel burdened, just to be herself. Following that, Emma really bounced onto the stage, and after a brief self-introduction, she unexpectedly won the approval of the entire audience. I always say physique can overcome any problem. Amidst a wave of praise, Noir's second girl took the stage. Being an elven saint, she instantly received unanimous acclaim. Lastly, Lola, the receptionist at the Adventurers Guild, appeared, and in that moment, Noir's group received the full attention and praise of the audience. The judges announced that Noir had received the highest score in history, 2,925 points. Just when Noir thought he had won, the judges said this was just the beginning. Victory was only certain if everyone present approved. Noir's harem needed to demonstrate their love for their master based on the given topics, proving they were truly the best harem. There were 3 scenarios in total. After a brief discussion among the 3 girls, they began the test. The first question was what to do when the master feels cold. Actor Noir immediately began his performance, and the 3 girls quickly gathered around him, offering warmth and concern. This move made the judges mockingly call it childish, but they were shocked by what followed. The girls warmed Noir by rubbing their bodies against him. The second question was what to do if the master caught a cold, and it had to involve this bread. At that moment, the 3 women took meticulous care of him, which stimulated the judges. They immediately presented the third question, asking the girls to prove they were the best harem. The 3 of them then simultaneously kissed Noir, leaving everyone stunned by the sweet scene. This was followed by a surge of moved voices from the audience, and the judges were completely overwhelmed, exclaiming, "Is this even humanly possible? Does such a harem group really exist?" While saying this, they threw the prize money to Noir. In this way, Noir successfully won $1 million in prize money, and having finally gathered enough life points needed to save someone, he turned his attention to Maria, who was critically ill from a curse. Just when her family was in despair, Noir and his group arrived, like a long-awaited rain bringing hope to the family once again. Noir had already used his edit skill to change Luna's life consumption for curse removal to wealth consumption, using the 1 million gold coins just won at the event to offset the cost. Thus, he was able to completely remove Maria's deadly curse. After some effort, Maria's chest pain disappeared, and Noir immediately used his identifying eye to confirm that Maria's death curse was truly eliminated. Everyone rejoiced at this, and Maria slowly took Noir's hand, expressing her heartfelt thanks. Is the tulip really the most sensitive part of a lion? Noir's sister just lightly touched it, and the lion immediately trembled all over, drooling from its nose. Is this perhaps the newest way to stroke a lion? Noir saved the Duke's daughter and earned a large sum of money. Noir plans to use these funds to open a specialty store featuring rare materials. Before that, Noir decided to continue exploring the dungeon, and after confirming that the 3rd and 4th floors had no desired monsters, Noir reached the 5th floor. The scattered corpses of monsters on the ground raised his alarm. Sure enough, at a corner, he saw 2 giant monster corpses. Just as Noir was about to move forward, a black shadow appeared behind him, a massive lion. Noir immediately used his identifying eye to check its information, but discovered that everything about it was unknown, instilling fear in him. He wanted to use teleportation to leave the area, but at that moment, the lion spoke up, assuring Noir that it meant no harm. It only wanted to ask Noir for a favor, to help find a friend named Vachel on the next level. They immediately set off together. On the way, Noir learned that the lion's name was Toramaru, a name given by Vachel, who was also its only friend in this world. They had once entered this hidden labyrinth together. When they reached the entrance to the 6th level, Vachel had wanted to tackle it alone using his own strength, so he asked Toramaru to wait for him on the 5th floor. But that wait turned into a full 350 years. Thus, Toramaru hoped that Noir could help in searching for him, while it continued to fulfill its promise to wait on the 5th floor. After arriving on the 6th level, which was too dark, Noir used his edit skill, spending a small amount of life points to learn night vision. With night vision, Noir saw a person slowly approaching him. Upon closer inspection, it turned out to be a zombie. Then, more zombies appeared, their heads detaching and chasing after Noir, who kicked one in fright and swiftly shut the door. Regaining his composure, Noir marveled at the level of decomposition of the zombies. They were indeed split into 6 parts. Just as Noir was about to proceed, another zombie appeared ahead, but this one looked different. By appearance, Noir recalled that this zombie matched Vachel's description. Using his identifying eye, he confirmed it was indeed him. Noir thought to use his edit skill to spend 500 life points to remove the zombie curse on him, thus restoring him to his original form. After confirming his identity again, Noir told him that his friend had been waiting for him for a full 350 years. Vachel informed Noir that he had initially entered the labyrinth to find a treasure for his lover, not realizing it would cause Toramaru to waste 350 years waiting for him. The two then returned to the 5th floor, where the old friends embraced. Vachel told Toramaru that he needed to go back and search for his lover. Understanding the situation, after a brief farewell, Vachel left. At this point, Toramaru mentioned having some matters to attend to, and went back to the 5th floor. Noir sensed something and followed quietly, only to find Toramaru secretly crying in a corner. The seemingly strong Toramaru was actually very reluctant to part with Vachel, its only friend in this world. Noir then seriously offered to be Toramaru's friend, and seeing Noir's silhouette that resembled Vachel's, it agreed to become his friend. Today marks Noir's first exam since starting school. The exam involved collecting 3 types of monsters, which amazed everyone as these were rare creatures not easily obtained. Noir discussed with Emma about teaming up to collect the monsters, but planned to invite another person. As Noir arrived at the entrance of the Adventurers Guild, he heard the sound of a quarrel inside. Pushing the door open, he saw Lola arguing with another colleague. The reason was that this colleague named Sarah had poached the adventurer Lola was responsible for. Sarah stated that everyone should win based on strength. If one wants to boost their performance, they need to ensure that the adventurers under their care excel. Handling more adventurers would result in higher performance. Lola then challenged Sarah to a contest. If Lola won, Sarah must stop poaching her adventurers. However, Sarah countered that if she won, Noir, who was under Lola's care, would be transferred to her responsibility. Noir thought to himself that he did not want to be taken away by Sarah. Was this the look of unwillingness? Following this, Noir mentioned that it was a good time since the school required collecting monsters. They could take on some high-difficulty missions simultaneously to help increase Lola's performance. Saint Luna expressed her desire to team up with Noir too. I must say, Noir's harem is indeed formidable. Subsequently, Noir and his party of 3 began their monster hunting expedition. With the company of his harem, battling the creatures was effortless, and they continuously completed tasks. Their ultimate goal was a terrestrial dragon. Noir suggested setting a trap since the dragon couldn't fly. They just needed to lure it into the trap for an easy capture. Noir and his companions planned to buy some suitable weapons first, then through intimate interactions with his harem, quickly increase his life points. Finally, by using the edit skill, they enhanced their abilities to confront the dragon. Once everything was prepared, they embarked on the dragon-slaying journey. Upon reaching the location where the dragon was known to roam, Noir immediately obtained the exact location of the dragon from the Great Sage. Emma then kissed Noir to relieve his headache, which left Saint Luna stunned. Noir said there was no time to explain and urged them to depart quickly. After some effort, the 3 of them prepared a trap. Noir then approached the dragon's lair, using his identifying eye to check the dragon's information and considering weakening it. However, weakening it would cost too much life points, so they stuck to the original plan. Noir then picked up a rock and fiercely hit a wrinkle near the dragon's eye socket. The dragon got up to investigate and discovered Noir hiding in the corner. What followed was a fierce dragon roar. Noir then bravely led the dragon on a chase, mocking it as it ran. The dragon failed to hit him at all. As the dragon fell into the trap, the 2 ladies launched their attack. Noir did not hold back, and with continuous assaults, the mighty dragon fell, blinded. Noir then submitted the monsters needed for the school exam, and the remaining ones were given to Lola to boost her performance. The president increased Lola's performance based on the monsters, but after adding Sarah's performance, Lola's was unexpectedly surpassed. At this point, 3 of Sarah's adventurers returned defeated, so they could not be rewarded as promised. Lola then pulled Noir into a room, took off her tie, and hinted that she could offer rewards too. What happens next is left to the imagination. To help boost Lola's performance, Noir went to the labyrinth to consult his master. The beautiful master suggested that Noir try the 7th level, where rich rewards and monsters awaited. But before that, Noir needed to learn 3 new skills to create magic skills with fire, water, and lightning attributes. First was the white flame, which had holy properties and was particularly effective against zombies. Next was the water orb, which could be used for water attacks or as a hydration source. The last is the purple lightning, an excellent defensive skill. After hearing this, Noir immediately learned all 3 skills. The beautiful master added, "If you merge the various magics together, you can create the strongest magic that belongs only to Noir." To test this, Noir once again faced a zombie, merging the stone bullet with the white flame. The fusion of stone bullet and white flame magic unleashed astonishing power. He had become stronger. How determined is the lady at the front desk of the Adventurers Guild? In her quest for performance, she doesn't hesitate to poison the adventurers. In gratitude to Lola, Noir decides to head alone to the 7th level of the Hidden Labyrinth, seeking monsters that could boost Lola's performance. However, he soon encounters a bloodthirsty silver wolf, whose level is significantly higher than Noir's. Level 63 Noir decides to retreat and find easier monsters to target. At that moment, a voice stops him. Turning around, he sees a girl resembling Emma. Noir immediately uses his identifying eye and discovers she is a wood sprite. The wood sprite tells Noir that her true form is a large tree, which one day was targeted by an evil creature that relentlessly tormented her. If Noir could help deal with this villain, she would reveal the location of 2 mysterious treasure chests and the way to the 8th level. But Noir decides to gather more information before making a decision. They then visit the wood sprite's true form, and the villain she speaks of turns out to be a golden bee covered in spikes. After checking the golden bee's attributes and level, Noir realizes it is more than 4 times his level. A direct attack would likely be fatal. While they are feeling dejected, the wood sprite kneels in pain. It turns out the golden bee is sucking the essence from the tree, and the tree's surface is covered with marks from the feeding. This makes Noir feel guilty about his limited abilities. Noir bites his lip in frustration, drawing blood. Seeing the blood on Noir's lips, the wood sprite kisses him, intending to ease his pain through the kiss. Noir, you must be doing this on purpose, one might say. But this also helps increase Noir's life points. While kissing, Noir thinks of his beautiful master and decides to consult her for advice. Noir quickly finds his master and asks for her help in devising a strategy. Even the master advises him to give up, fearing the great disparity in strength could endanger Noir's life. But Noir is determined to save the wood sprite, and the master reluctantly shares a plan with him, insisting that he must come back alive. Guided by his master, Noir uses his perception skill to locate the golden bee's nest. He sets a hatred lure for the golden bee, then finds a pack of wolves and throws a stone to attract their attention, leading the wolf pack towards the golden bee's nest. As they run, Noir finds the golden bee has returned to the tree to feed on its essence, and the wood sprite has fallen unconscious from the trauma. Noir, enraged, uses the purple lightning to attack the golden bee. The wolf pack also launches a surprise attack surrounding Noir. Suddenly, Noir has an inspiration. He just needs to set the golden bee as the wolves' arch enemy. The murderous intent in the eyes of the wolf pack instantly shifts to the golden bee, and they attack it. After a fierce battle, the wolf pack is wiped out, but they have inflicted significant damage on the golden bee. Noir seizes the opportunity, using the edit skill to mix water bullet and purple lightning, and fires it at the weakened golden bee. After Noir's efforts, the golden bee incident finally settled down. The wood sprite, honoring their agreement, took Noir to retrieve 2 treasures. One was the wind attribute treasure Emma needed, and the other was a treasure required for Lola to boost her performance. Noir truly dotes on his harem group. Then, the wood sprite led Noir to the entrance of the next level of the labyrinth. Before leaving, Noir promised the wood sprite that he would come back to visit her again, promising to bring lots of delicious food next time. Noir then returned to the Adventurers Guild and handed the treasures to Lola, successfully helping her win the title of Miss No. 1 at the front desk of the Adventurers Guild. That day, Noir gave Emma the wind spirit orb he brought back from the maze. After using it, Emma felt light as a feather. With a light step, she performed a repeated sidestep, and with a gentle wave of her hand, she unleashed a hurricane blade. Despite acquiring such powerful abilities, Emma still seemed unhappy. The reason was that Emma's family was going to a noble banquet, and Noir, being from the lower social strata, was unsure how to accompany Emma to the event. Emma then spoke some meaningful words, seemingly unaware that she might be stolen by someone else. These words touched Noir, and he decided that no matter what, he would attend the banquet. On the day of the banquet, attended by various dignitaries and officials, Noir felt out of place in his first suit. At that moment, Emma, dressed in a flowing white dress, approached Noir, looking stunning. Just then, the host of the banquet stepped forward and announced to all the guests that the phantom thief Phantom Spirit had sent a provocative letter, stating that she would come tonight to steal the banquet's treasure, Mermaid's Tears. The banquet had employed top-tier adventurers to secure the venue, ensuring that neither man nor ghost could escape with the treasure, which was hidden in a very secret place. The banquet proceeded as usual, but Emma seemed unusually anxious, as if worried about something. As the banquet was in full swing, the hall lights suddenly went out, and the phantom thief Phantom Spirit arrived as expected, announcing that she was there to take the Mermaid's Tears and Emma. The slow-witted Noir then realized that Emma had been kidnapped in the darkness. In an instant, all the guests were in a panic. When the lights came back on, the banquet host, worried, immediately went to check on the Mermaid's Tears. But this played right into Phantom Thief Phantom Spirit's hands, revealing the exact location of the treasure. It was then that everyone realized there were actually 2 Phantom Spirits. The phantom thief quickly broke a window and escaped. Noir, along with the adventurer Layla, hurriedly pursued. After checking the information on the thieves, Noir warned Layla to be cautious with her summoning spells. However, what they feared happened. The thief clasped her hands in a seal and summoned a blazing firebird to attack. Layla managed to block the attack in time. The thief directed the firebird to keep Layla occupied while she continued to target Noir. But Noir was no pushover. Exploiting her fear of lightning-type spells, he continuously attacked with purple lightning. However, the thief was not afraid. She simply retreated beyond the range of the purple lightning attack. Meanwhile, Layla struggled, surrounded by flames, unable to attack the airborne firebird. At a stalemate, Noir had a new idea. He could use the Grant skill to give the firebird an additional 30 kilograms of weight, making it unable to fly. He then used a water bullet to provide cover, creating an opportunity for Layla, and the thief miscalculated her attack. Originally, Noir merged the water bullet and purple lightning, then tricked the phantom thief into actively receiving the skill. Layla, seizing the moment, struck the firebird with a punch, reducing it to ashes. Afterwards, they checked on the injured Emma and tied up the phantom thief. Just then, Layla's guild leader arrived to provide support, but his slight expression aroused Noir's suspicion. Thus, Noir used his appraisal eye to confirm his identity but found no information. In the next second, the guild leader knocked down Noir and used gravity magic on both Layla and Noir, rendering them unable to move. He then commanded Emma to come to his side, preparing to place a green hat on Noir right then and there. Noir forcibly controlled a pebble to knock off the guild leader's earring, which was a disguise-changing accessory. At that moment, the guild leader instantly transformed into the phantom thief's accomplice. It turned out that this man coveted Emma's figure and had come specifically to steal Emma to make her his wife. Hearing this, Noir was furious. Just as the man was about to attack Noir, Emma woke up and sent the man flying with a wind slash. Noir immediately followed up with a punch. After being rescued, Noir and Emma kissed. After all, he felt uncomfortable if he didn't kiss in an episode. Watching this, Layla also wanted to join the harem group. Is mixed bathing in Japan really this playful? Noir led his harem group and directly started a happy life. Since Noir last teamed up with Layla to defeat the phantom thief, Layla had started to admire Noir and used the pretext of transferring schools to become his deskmate. They were about to hold the annual Hot Springs training camp, which everyone looked forward to because of the hot springs. On the day of the training camp, everyone went with a happy mood, but the boys seemed to have ulterior motives, which worried Noir, as this was his harem group. After a day's journey, everyone was exhausted. Just as Noir was considering how to guard against these lechers, a voice stopped him and told him that it had just saved his life. It turned out there was a hidden trap ahead that could have been deadly if someone had fallen into it. When a male student tried to show off, he turned around and saw that the girls were not even looking at him, which infuriated him. As Noir wondered who had set the trap, a cute little sprite flew over and explained that the trap was set by nearby thieves, and she was a sprite living nearby. The female students were attracted by the cute appearance of the sprite and wanted to touch her up close. To ensure safety, Noir used his appraisal eye and found that she had the skill to control monsters, while the teacher remained silent, wanting everyone to use their own abilities to discern the truth. At that time, the sprite mentioned a shortcut that could quickly reach the hot springs, and the words, "quickly reach the hot springs," instantly made everyone mindlessly follow. When they reached a cave, everyone followed the sprite without hesitation. Just as Noir wondered if there might be a catch, a classmate beside him told Noir that he had the ability to sense traps, asking Noir not to worry too much. However, at that moment, several caves ahead caught Noir's attention. The sprite pretended to check and claimed there was nothing inside the caves. Noir questioned her about why she had the skill to control monsters, and the sprite, unable to keep up her act, dropped the pretense. Suddenly, a large group of lizard monsters appeared behind her, but little did they know that they had walked into a trap. The group, enraged, charged forward to attack, shouting that anyone who dared to stop them from peeking at the girls bathing would pay with their life. Of course, the girls were not to be trifled with either. The lizard monsters could never have imagined that they would be punished by a group of perverts. At this moment, the little sprite tried to escape in the chaos. But Noir immediately imposed an additional weight of 10 kilograms on her, making it impossible for her to fly and escape. Afterwards, the teacher solemnly explained that even seemingly harmless creatures must always be guarded against. However, no one was listening to the teacher at all. Everyone was just looking forward to the hot springs. Eventually, everyone arrived at the hot spring location. Due to time constraints, it was decided to let the girls enter the hot springs first. The boys, acting gentlemanly, declared that as students of the Hero Academy, they would absolutely not engage in peeping. Noir thought everyone had matured, but the next second the boys had already put on hoods, ready to recklessly rush into the hot springs, and handed one to Noir. Taking the hood, Noir remembered the trust the girls had in him, so he refused the hood. This act, however, angered everyone, and they decided to deal with this traitor first. With no other choice, Noir escaped through a window. After a chase, they accidentally arrived in front of the bathhouse. At this moment, the teacher suddenly appeared, summoning a wall of earth that blocked everyone's path. Thwarted, the crowd rallied and continued towards the bathhouse. The teacher decided to teach them a lesson together with Noir. In an instant, all the boys fell to the ground. Still, one student wanted to resist stubbornly. He was the ringleader, Yorth. Yorth believed that even a teacher should not stop him from peeping. After saying this, he threw a punch at the teacher. This punch surprisingly pushed the teacher back. It turned out that Yorth had spent all his money to enhance his strength, just so he could peep at the girls. He thought that even if it cost him his life, it was worth it. He then launched an attack on them, insisting on going to the female bathhouse. Thanks to the enhancement from drugs, Yorth managed to overpower Noir briefly. But Noir, refusing to give up, created a weakening skill which he inflicted on Yorth. Deprived of his strength, Yorth was like a lamb to the slaughter, easily thrown to the ground by Noir. Just when Noir thought everything was over, a feigning unconscious male student suddenly got up and ran towards the bathhouse with relentless steps. Noir immediately gave chase, but found he couldn't catch up due to the other's speed. Thus, Noir, at great expense, used a large amount of his life points to cast a slowing skill on him. But the boy, driven by a stubborn will, jumped into the bathhouse. After falling into the water, Noir closed his eyes and yelled for the girls to run away, only to find that no one was actually bathing. It turned out the teacher had anticipated the boy's intentions and had the girls prepare in advance. Now, because of the life points he had used, Noir sank into the water. To reward Noir's actions, the girls allowed him to join them in the bath. Noir's life points also shot up from 200 to 10,000 in an instant. This was a harem play you've never seen before. Quite appetizing, right? The harem-style sandwich instantly boosted Noir's life points significantly. This is Noir's incredible skill. And to repay the one who had given him the skill, Noir decided that no matter what, he had to rescue the beautiful master who had been imprisoned for 200 years. Thus, Noir used his second incredible skill, the Sage's skill. The Sage replied, "To rescue the beautiful master, you must go to the 15th level of the Hidden Labyrinth for answers." Following this, Noir fought his way through, arriving at the 14th level of the Hidden Labyrinth. At that moment, a sign appeared. Individuals proceed to the left, groups of 2 or more to the right. Without much thought, the honest Noir headed in the direction marked for individuals. But what awaited him was a precarious rope bridge, and outrageously, the use of skills was restricted. This instantly made Noir hesitant, deciding to return and consult with Emma on a strategy. Upon learning that Noir's motivation was to repay and rescue his master, Emma decided to accompany him to the 15th floor to see what was there. Later, Noir and Emma returned to the maze, this time honestly taking the path for 2. This time, a wooden door confronted them. After entering, a group of dwarfs surrounded them from all sides. They forced Noir and his companion to lay down their weapons, then commanded Noir to provide them with food. Left with no choice, Noir offered the cookies he carried, which to the unsophisticated dwarfs seemed a treasure, and they indulged in this delicacy. But their enjoyment wasn't enough, as the dwarfs made an unreasonable demand, asking Emma to imitate a pig's squeal. At this moment, a dwarf ordered Noir to bring out more cookies. Noir complied immediately, but this time was different. One by one, The dwarfs fell to the ground. It turned out Noir had imbued the cookies with poison. Having passed the level, Noir and Emma prepared to head to the 15th floor. Upon arrival, they discovered an exact replica of Noir's master in chains. Noir attempted to call out to his master, but the beautiful master showed no signs of life. Using his identification skill, Noir discovered it was a deadlocked curse on a copy of his master. A nearby stone tablet read, "Please release the bonds first." Following the hint, Emma cut the iron chains, and the counterfeit master stood up nonchalantly, attempting to communicate with Noir using the master's identity. Knowing better, Noir was not fooled. Instead, he sought to dispose of the imposter, to save the true master. However, the imposter wanted to test the strength of the replica. Noir initiated an attack with a stone projectile, but the imposter blocked it with a foot. Even as a replica, the master had formidable abilities. The woman launched a fiery attack, continuously pursuing Noir. Emma quickly moved to interrupt the imposter's spell, only to find that the gap in strength was substantial and was kicked away. Seeing this, Noir immediately went to check on her. However, the imposter prepared to deliver their final blow, but Noir managed to escape using teleportation. Noir, carrying Emma, returned to the real master's room, only to face the true master's disdain, who remarked that she had already had enough lunch and did not want to eat any more dog food. Noir then shared the details of the 15th floor with the master. Emma, curious, wanted to know the master's weaknesses, since the original's vulnerabilities would surely persist in the replica. Noir's master continually changed the subject, seemingly unwilling for Noir to intervene, only mentioning that she had once faced a tough battle on the street where Noir had stayed. On the way back, Noir was not ready to give up, deciding to go to the library the next day to search for information. Emma also expressed her intent to find a way to gather more details. The next day, while researching, Noir discovered his master was once a supreme expert, overwhelming all beings, and had been suppressed in a battle by a holy maiden named Tidalin through sacrifice. Though ultimately, the master prevailed. With no other options at hand, after briefly reading about sacrifice, Noir chose to spend 10,000 life points to learn it. On his way home, Noir was contemplating leveling up a few more times before challenging his false master again, only to have the imposter come knocking unexpectedly. After a brief exchange, Noir was provoked by the imposter, and in response, he sacrificed 3 skills, launching an attack at the woman. However, she countered with a sword strike that wounded him. Was Noir about to fail here? It turned out that the beautiful master in the maze was named Olivia. 200 years ago, in a small tavern, a young boy who looked very much like Noir was seeking to become a disciple, and Olivia was the one he wished to learn from. However, Olivia, uninterested in taking on a disciple, declined him on the pretext of not being a good teacher. Despite watching Olivia walk away, the boy did not give up. Every day thereafter, wherever Olivia went, the boy followed persistently, like a shadow. His persistence seemed to both move and annoy Olivia, and she eventually gave him a chance, stating that if he could touch her body anywhere, she would accept him as a disciple. Eagerly, the naive boy charged with his sword, but such a senseless stab was never going to hit Olivia. Olivia told the boy that he simply wasn't cut out to be an adventurer. These words did not discourage him. For the following month, he continued to follow her every day. His persistence eventually began to sway Olivia's heart, making her think that perhaps taking him on as a disciple wouldn't be so bad. But fate can be cruel. The next day, as Olivia arrived at the tavern as usual, a waiter delivered some devastating news. The boy had been in an accident. Rushing to the scene, Olivia found herself staring at his cold, lifeless body. A man nearby explained that the boy had been attacked by a monster while saving his daughter. By the time help arrived, Noir was already breathless, and the monster was the rarely encountered Iron Goblin. The boy had managed to save the man's daughter by stabbing the Iron Goblin in the eye with his sword. After hearing this, Olivia was filled with guilt, regretting that if she had taught him properly, perhaps the outcome would have been different, and the boy would not have died. Since then, Olivia faced 200 years of solitude until the day Noir appeared before her. Because Noir so closely resembled the boy, Olivia decided not to hesitate any longer and taught Noir everything she knew, perhaps as a way of atoning. Meanwhile, Noir was battling against a replica of his master, who was cursed with a deadlock. At that moment, Emma appeared just in time to kick away the imposter. Noir's harem gathered around him, ready to fight together. The woman excitedly announced she wanted to join them, which met with dissatisfaction from the harem, who felt she had not earned her place. Growing increasingly angry, Luna launched an attack, but the imposter easily dodged it. Layla seized the opportunity to land a punch, breaking through her defenses. Emma then circled around to attack the imposter from behind with a wind slash, but unexpectedly, the imposter teleported behind Emma. Sensing danger, Emma managed to block the sword, but still suffered from the lightning damage attached to the blade. Just when the imposter was about to finish off Emma, the strong Lola lifted a wooden barrel nearby and smashed it towards her, but missed. Taking advantage of the fight, Noir used his editing skill to remove the lightning attribute from the sword. Seeing this, Layla quickly attacked, breaking the sword. Yet, even unarmed, the imposter was formidable, unleashing a flame dragon strike that instantly killed Layla. Noir immediately checked, and at that moment, he realized that everyone had been afflicted with a fever status. The imposter master then remarked that Noir was now fighting alone again, and took the opportunity to summon a flame dragon to attack him. Noir barely dodged the attack. It turned out that his body had been slowed down by a skill applied by the imposter master. Noir tried to counterattack using a stone bullet, but unexpectedly, the stone bullet reversed its course mid-flight and hit Noir hard. It was revealed that the imposter master had modified the settings of Noir's stone bullet skill. This made Noir acknowledge that the imposter, truly a clone of his master, possessed high insight and battlefield interpretation skills, applying all skills more adeptly. Noir decided to go all out, sacrificing all his skills except for his 3 main ones to gain tremendous power. Faced with the explosive Noir, the imposter master could only try her best to dodge the attacks. However, her vigorous slash did not harm her, but instead, Noir was continuously counterattacked by the imposter master. Unsatisfied, the imposter master prepared to turn Noir into ashes by summoning a massive flame dragon god for an attack. At this moment, images of each of his wives flashed through Noir's mind, carrying the belief to protect everyone. He could only fight with all his might. Driven by his strong conviction and protective urge, he slashed through the fire dragon, striking the woman and turning her into a pile of dust. After the victory, Noir collapsed on the ground with only 200 health points remaining. Seeing this, his harem had a new task: to heal Noir. Noir's health points suddenly rose back to over 10,000. The master, freed from the deadlock curse, finally regained her freedom and embraced Noir tightly, feeling the warmth that had been long missed. The two of them fulfilled each other, and a new future awaited them. Afterwards, Noir led a happy life, constantly supported by his numerous harem, and his health points skyrocketed at rocket speed, breaking through the sky.